seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you and glad you're with us. It's going to be a great show this morning. There's lots to talk about. Beginning first with a little bit of a weather, little bit of a weather update and what we can expect today and for the next few days coming up. It gets interesting these days. Unlike Arizona, where pretty much in the winter every day is the same. And then it changes in the summer where it gets really hot, and then every day is the same. So here is much different from that. We constantly have to be having our finger on the pulse because you never know. Weather can change anytime. But speaking of anytime, you can listen to us anytime if you go to cklu.ca. You click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can download that, listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. If you just want to stream it, you just have to click on the logo, and a streamer opens, and you can stream us. You can listen to us on old school radio at CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. Also, we're live streaming in video on Facebook, facebook.com/Sudbury News, and youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, all those wonderful things. The more we do that, the more people are exposed to this community conversation that we've started here, which is Sudbury News. And we're all invited to the conversation, invited to the party, so to speak, and someone who's invited right here in the studio to the party in the studio each Tuesday and Thursday when there's no unforeseen circumstances happening is Billy. So good morning, Billy. How you doing?
Pretty good, thanks.
Good. You're excited for the winter coming, the wonderful weather that we're getting into?
Yeah, I'm not too bad with it, and I think the way time flies these days, it'll be spring before I blink a few times. So
yeah, it's true. Just today, it's November the 29th. I was just looking at that going, where does time actually go? Like that's really like time is flying. Just like 1 month turns into another. We're almost in December, everyone. It's a couple days. We're in December, and it's already hustle and bustle and Christmas shopping and all that wonderful stuff. I know it's a very stressful time for me included, and a lot of other people out there. And so we want to make sure to we'll do our part on this show to maybe keep the anxiety down to a minimum. Is it for you, Billy? Is it a stressful time?
No, I don't think so. I don't really juxtapose it so much against the other seasons. It just kind of, I guess I just kind of accept it. It's here. It's a little bit of a quieter. I kind of go in a little bit of hibernation mode, internally anyway. But I don't know. I think I'll be keeping busy enough that all those other, seasonal anxiety things might stay at bay.
Yeah, it's funny you say hibernation. I do the exact same thing at the same time of the year. And even though you have to have an outward whatever, because there's a lot of, people are inviting you over and there's public things going on, Christmas parties and, things like that. It is like internally, I'm kind of in hibernation too. So I get what you mean on that one. For sure. Let's get right into it. Yes, good morning, David. Thanks for being with us. You're with us each and every morning. Look forward to everyone that's on with us. It's really great to know that we're all having this conversation in the morning. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be able to do this each and every morning. And it is. I do look at it that way. It's basically a service that it just yeah, just feels good to be able to do that and to hear your comments and about all the latest, greatest that's going on. And there's lots to talk about today. So I won't waste any more time, and we'll get right into it with a little bit of weather, and we'll be back with headlines and Billy's take on the headlines. Looking forward to that. All right, Sudbury Weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca, which lands on our Sudbury.news page. And if you did go there, like I was recommending for the last few days, you would have noticed that some of the links were broken. And I went there yesterday. I was like, yeah, so I wonder how this is all working. And I noticed that there was some glitches there. So I got in contact with Nick, the person that I'm using to help me out with the website. And right away, 2 seconds, he fixed it all up. And so I really appreciate Nick and the work that you've done to make this possible on the website end of things. You definitely are a website guru, and thank you so much for doing that. -4 currently, and it feels like -11 though. Humidity is 90%, so kind of humid out there. Today will be cloudy. The wind will be becoming southeast, 20 kilometers, gusting to 40 this morning. High, +2. The wind chill will feel, though, like -8. UV index, always 1, low. Tonight, cloudy, periods of snow, rain beginning late this evening, then changing to periods of rain after midnight. Rainfall amount of 10 to 15 millimeters. Joy. Oh, yes. Looking forward to that. Rain. And then turning into snow, and then you know what happens when it hits the ground. It could turn into ice, and so driving conditions could be treacherous. So I'm not looking forward to that one bit. Wind will be 30 kilometers coming from the southeast, gusting to 50. Temperature rising to +4 by tomorrow morning. So Wednesday, periods of rain changing to a few flurries in the morning. So we're going from mix of snow and rain to then periods of rain changing to flurries tomorrow morning. Wind will be southeast, 30 kilometers, gusting to 50. And temperature will be following to 0 in the afternoon tomorrow. So your long range forecast, or the 7-day, again, mix of flurries and rain for tomorrow, high of +3. Thursday, chance of flurries, -2. 30% chance of flurries, that is. Friday, cloudy, +2. Saturday, chance of showers again, -1. And that's 60% chance of showers. Sunday, -3, cloudy. And then again, chance of flurries possibly on Monday. But by the time that comes around, that's totally going to change. Long range forecast is usually like that. Look at your satellite overcast again, cloudy. I don't know if Billy was listening to the show when I made the pledge that if I ever see the satellite image, this is a 24-hour picture of Northern Ontario's skies. If I ever see that being totally clear without a cloud in the sky, I will shave my beard off. So we're gonna.
You got to be careful. There's like quite a few days this summer, like right in a row, with like blue sky all day long. Yeah. It seems like.
But it didn't show that on the satellite. So over Sudbury possibly, but not from Thunder Bay, west of Thunder Bay, at the Manitoba border, all the way to Ottawa and up to Moosonee and maybe down to Toronto. So and then you got parts of the States here. So it has to be clear on this whole satellite image.
That would be, do you think there's a precedent for that? Was it ever?
Oh, yeah.
There was a time when that would happen, you think?
For sure. Well, do you think there's a time when it was all cloudy? Like there wasn't even a clearing? Yeah, I've seen that, just all clouds. And so there has to, think of it. That's not that big of a space where at one point in time there could be no clouds, like one day out of a year.
I guess if you're looking at the picture of like the blue marble from space.
That's right.
You take there's some huge clearings on there of no clouds. So I guess it's possible.
But I made the comment that I noticed, in recent years, there's always clouds. There's just never, blue skies for that big of a geographic area. But I do remember, when I was younger and stuff, it wasn't that uncommon where it would be clear for a few days. And that just the way it was. So I don't know why there's more clouds today. And it's always mostly cloudy if you look at the satellite image. We have it on record each and every day. We show it. So it's being archived that's the satellite image. It looks almost the exact same every single time with the same amount of clouds. And there's tons of clouds all the time. But anyways.
Yeah. You know what I think of every time I see that when you play it? It's is this arcade game, I think, called 1942.
Okay.
And you reach level 3 and you're in the future. But this was back in the 80s.
Okay.
And it was all like green, purple sort of cloud cover. It looks very similar to what is sent out by Environment Canada. But
interesting. So
anyway,
a video game. Maybe they're just
predictive of the future. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe they're just playing clips of the video game or something. We don't realize it. All right. Well, that's your weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Lands on our Sudbury.news Facebook page. We'll be back. There's lots of news to talk about today. And hopefully I don't get off on a rant like I did yesterday. I'll try and keep my rants down to a minimum just for all of your, just for you. Okay. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back, and there's lots of news to talk about. Some exciting news, and then some we want to unpack a bit and ask some questions: where, when, why, how, what, those types of things. How come? How come is usually the best one I like. How come? So there's going to be a lot of that today. So first off, let's look at this. Laurentian University grad now sits on Canada's highest court. That's pretty big news, no?
Well, that's great.
Work hard and never give up, Michelle Obansewin says during Supreme Court welcome. So.
All right.
That's pretty awesome.
That's a good news story.
Yeah. The push is on to prevent another Laurentian debacle. As Laurentian University emerges from insolvency, there's an effort to change the rules. And Billy and I were talking about that this morning. So we have a clip from CTV talking about the fact that the MP, the Liberal MP from Sudbury, is going to table a bill that will prevent other universities from going down that road, even though Laurentian was. So it'll go down in history as the only publicly funded university in Canada to go bankrupt, because the other ones will not be allowed to do that. So that's an interesting tidbit. Good morning, Jerome. Rant away. That's funny. Another story. This is something you might want to chime in a little bit on. Billy, Ontario's new long-term care bill is bad for home care, says on Sudbury, Ontario caregiver.
Yeah.
See how that factors in.
Yeah, I read the article, and I read a few of these articles, and I get kind of the same sense from it. I mean, it's got a few details where you got, I think a $400 fine per day for people who refuse to leave the hospital for one of these homes when they're designated to.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But, like a lot of these issues, and it takes me a long time to really get a fix on both sides. I would just love to see maybe a good old-fashioned Facebook debate. Mm-hmm. Two really knowledgeable people on either side of the issue, just going back and forth, taking all angles and really getting a good cross-section of it.
Yeah. I think our society needs more debates, public debates too, just so people can chime in. And it's the same thing as when you watch live courtroom drama, and you listen to the one lawyer and you're like, oh yeah, the guy's guilty as all get out. And then the other lawyer gets out and then says that side, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Or a documentary that shows both sides.
Yeah.
Same idea.
A lot of people mention Making a Murderer.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah,
and they're
a good
pretty
example.
strong on both sides too. Like even still, like they've had a complete 180 degree turnarounds in
Yeah.
positions.
Yeah.
But you still talk to people who say, no, he's guilty. No, he's innocent. It's,
Yeah. I felt like that was an emotional roller coaster for me watching that series.
yeah, I didn't see it, but
Oh yeah, no, you got to see it. It's like emotional roller coaster. Yeah, the guy's guilty. The guy's totally guilty. They're showing all the, and then they totally flip you around like, the guy's totally innocent. There's no way he's guilty. And then you're like, wait a minute, he could be. Oh my goodness. If you haven't seen Making a Murderer on Netflix, and you want to do a little binge watching this holiday season, I would highly recommend that. It's true story, and it definitely is telling of what could possibly happen in our society with the powers that be, and just what people are willing to go through to do to be right and not to be just. So it's really, really cool. You got to watch that. Definitely, Billy. And you have Netflix, right? So
yeah,
I think
I could watch it.
yeah, and I think others would like to watch that too. Other people.
Yeah.
You may watch it with a friend.
I find a lot of like TV shows have that theme. Actually, Game of Thrones was really big on that, where it's like you really hate a character and you think they are evil. So evil, why? What are they doing in this world? They're so evil. And then as the thing goes on, well, that's they're not so bad.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they're doing some good things now. Kind of.
Yeah.
But you change your perspective as you get, sort of pan out and the story gets more detailed and bigger.
Yeah, definitely. And good morning, Brian. I noticed I put you up on the screen there when you said good morning. CP Holiday Train hits Nichols City November 30th, which is tomorrow. So click on our Facebook page for all of the times and things like that, or are we just going to do it now because it's quick to do? November 30th, you got all the advertisements jumping up here at us as we try and get to the choo-choo. All aboard, Canadian Holiday Train rolls into Nichols City. First time since 2019, making 38 stops through Ontario. It will be at the Via train station on Elgin Street at 8:50 for free. 30-minute live concert. And people say, well, live concert, who's going to be performing? And I'll see if I can... Oh, Alan Doyle of Great Big Sea.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's among the ones, so he might not be here. We don't know who we're going to get here, or we do. Just going to scroll. And quickly, I was not able to see.
Sorry, I was so
who's
not on
coming
top
to
of
town.
this.
That's fine. No, it's okay. It doesn't say who's going to be here. It just says among this year's performers are Alan Doyle, Great Big Sea, and country performers Tennille Towns and Jojo Mason, among several others. So we're going to get who we're going to get. You never know. Might be Alan Doyle. You just got to go down and see. 8:50 tomorrow night, Elgin Street. Ooh, that's not good for me. That's not good for me. I have a pickup from a farm pickup. That's where they meet right there. Oh, no. Hopefully it's earlier than that. Yes, and I do think it will be. So, okay. That's the holiday train. On... So, supervised consumption site in Sudbury helps ensure users are safe. And CTV did a video on this here. And we also want to get to the memo from Sudbury Hospital Board that praises embattled CEO Dominic Giroux following the release of the full Auditor General's report on Laurentian University's insolvency. The hospital board put out a memo on Dominic Giroux's behalf. And then, yes, so Laurentian emerges from insolvency ahead of the November 30th deadline, which is tomorrow. Again, right? From April 2009 to June 2017, Dominic Giroux was Laurentian's president. In 2017, he became the president and CEO of HSN and has remained in that role since then. Hospital memo reassures staff about current CEO and former Laurentian University president. So I guess that's the memo that went out to staff that says, don't worry everyone, what you're hearing, blah, blah, blah. He's our man. So I guess we'll have to delve into that. I just switched back to Netflix from Crave. I think I'll check it out this week. Sounds interesting. Oh, yes, Brian, you definitely got to see that. And yes, good morning, Diane. Nice to see you here. Good morning. And she also says, missed title for Netflix, just listening now. So it's called Making a Murderer. It's not Making of a Murderer, right? It's Making a Murderer, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah, Making a Murderer. So it definitely, if you love documentaries and you love let's say you love true crime even, and you love documentaries, it's the perfect mixture of two. And if you like basically true stories of people that are battling a system, let's say, and showing how a system can actually go wrong really bad, then that's definitely for you. Lots to unpack here. Let's start with the safe consumption site. Or let's start with this. So University grad is now on the Supreme Court of Canada. That's pretty freaking amazing, if you ask me. The newest member of Supreme Court of Canada says her journey has not been an easy one, but it's been meaningful and rewarding.
Yeah, it's a small group. How many people are on the Supreme Court?
I want to say 12, because isn't that what there is in the United States? Again, you caught me off guard on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it'd be bad to have an even number, no?
Yeah, it has to be an odd number. When I said 12, 12 apostles. Okay. Okay, so members of the legal community, including fellow justices, welcomed Michelle O'Bonsawin to the top court in a ceremony yesterday. O'Bonsawin, who replaced Michael Moldaver on September 1st, is a bilingual Franco-Ontarian and Abenaki member of the Odanik First Nation. I hope that my journey to this court will inspire young women to pursue their dreams, she told the attendees at the Supreme Court building in Ottawa. I'm a big believer that if you have a goal, you work hard and you never give up and you make things happen and achieve those dreams. O'Bonsawin said she's made mistakes and fallen down at times. However, mistakes have been my teachers and I've learned from those mistakes. Well, that's great counsel for young women and people in general. I've always gotten up and continued at times with trepidation, but always moving forward. And the outgoing Ontario Superior Court. The outgoing Ontario Superior Court judge said. So she was on the Ontario Superior Court. Now she's going to the federal. That's interesting.
Born in Hanmer. Look at that.
Not bad. Got a local in there. So it doesn't mention how many. Again, I apologize for my not knowing the amount of those that are on the Supreme Court of Canada. Can't know everything, but she is definitely there. Pushes on to prevent another Laurentian debacle. So let's just talk about that one after the safe consumption site. So we have a safe consumption site in Sudbury, and we had a little discussion on it yesterday. Natalie Labby chimed in on that, saying that we don't, because we have a safe consumption site here, so does Timmins. North Bay just is getting a brand new treatment center, a full-on treatment center with like 50 some beds, almost 60 beds. And that's basically treatment. And that's what we've been talking about on the show that we need here. Making sure people are consuming it safely is one step. But everybody who chimed in on that conversation said, we need more than that. We need the next step. We need rehabilitation. And Natalie said it's because the progressive conservatives don't give us the money here. It's because they're conservative and we're NDP. We don't get the same services because they've promised money to us, even for the safe consumption site, and haven't even given it to us yet. So I don't know the details on that, but that's what she said. So I'll take her on that word. And if that's the case, regardless, not getting that done isn't good for Sudbury. I think North Bay is going to end up, in a better situation with their their needs for their people struggling with addictions. A treatment center is, I think, a little bit more of a holistic approach.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, I really appreciate the sort of compassion behind this, but I'm kind of interested to see the actual reality. If this, I mean, this has been around for a while. Do these improve the situation, or do they exacerbate it?
Exactly. So let's just listen in and see what CTV has to say
The
about
site has
it.
been up and running for almost 2 months now, and officials say people who use the service seem receptive and they're appreciative of the low barrier environment. The site is interestingly also offering HIV self-testing now. CTV's Alana Everson has more.
Officials say it's a low barrier environment to help people who use drugs feel comfortable, supported, connected, and safe.
Supervised consumption services are for anyone that uses drugs. If you use drugs every day, if you use drugs once in a blue moon, anyone can have an adverse reaction due to the extreme toxicity of the illicit supply.
This harm reduction nurse who works at the site says it offers a non-judgmental environment.
They can use drugs safely and not have to worry about being judged or shamed. That the people who are taking care of them are not looking down on them, and that we just care about people being safe, people being alive.
The site has been operating for almost 2 months now and makes an effort to put people at ease.
One thing that people do say when they walk through here for the first time is they're so surprised how much bigger it is when they come through. We've really made an effort to make it not an incredibly clinical environment.
At this point, RACO Access is not releasing numbers on how many people have used the site for supervised consumption, nor will it say if anyone has been saved in an overdose situation. Staff cites the need to build trust with people who want to be sure they are not being tracked. Officials did tell us more men use the service than women.
We're definitely strategizing on how to connect with women that use drugs as well, because it is a common trend amongst harm reduction programs that they're frequented more often by men.
The site distributes harm reduction supplies and now also has free HIV self-testing kits for people who access the site.
To get tested, it can be stigmatizing, it can be shameful. We still see a lot of stigma around HIV today. So by offering that self-testing kit, it helps to lower those barriers.
Officials say the site also offers community management services to provide referrals and connections to other services people may need. Ellen Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
Okay, any thoughts on that at all, Billy?
Well, I think my main concern with that is, you figure these things would be very, almost you'd want a bit of a scientific element attached to these where they really track. Mm-hmm. You really want to find out if you're doing harm.
That's right.
Or doing good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if they are. I kind of caught my ear that they said they're not releasing the numbers.
Correct.
Which is kind of counter to the idea. It's like, well, we really need to know if, in order to support this or not support it, we need the data. So,
and then I think they tried to make the case that they want people to know that they're not being tracked, mm-hmm. which they would still know they're not being tracked because they would just give generic numbers, and so wouldn't lend itself. That's not a direct correlation. If you said there's, they did say, well, there is more men than women, so they gave some type of data out, but they wouldn't release how many or whatever. And I'm wondering why they didn't, and there could be a good reason for it. Maybe they're waiting for 6 months or something. Maybe but they didn't mention that in the story, why it wasn't released. So that crossed my mind as well, why the numbers weren't released. Jerome chimed in, though, to let us know that there are 9 people that sit on the Supreme Court, which makes total sense.
Oh, okay.
It's an odd number, and it's about that for sure. Also says, consumption without treatment, seriously? Drug pushers are celebrating. And Brian says he's still on the fence with the safe consumption site thing. However, I do not think it's a viable solution to the problem. So again, this is going back to our first impulse on the whole thing. Is it may be one step. It may be the first step in many steps, but we're missing the many steps afterwards. And talking about the new facility that North Bay got, Natalie's saying it could be political because they have they have conservatives in North Bay, and Vic Fideli is from North Bay, and so maybe there's that going on, and maybe they're not treating us the same because healthcare is a provincial thing. I would hope that wouldn't be the case. And then I called for, I want to see the city's plan. Like, were we planning to have a treatment center and the province kind of went, no, you're not going to get the money? Or was just part of our plan to have a safe consumption site? So that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see if the province turned us down to have something that was really well thought out and had the whole enchilada and not just a safe consumption site, and we were turned down and we could only get that step going, or that's all we were asking for. So I just need to know.
Yeah, haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah,
but
I haven't either. So that's that. That will continue to be a topic on this show. I can guarantee you that. Also, another topic that will be on the show is Laurentian University. It is going to be coming out of insolvency earlier than expected, which was supposed to be tomorrow, but it's now coming out of insolvency. So CTV did a really good story on that. So here you go.
Amanda, thank you for that. Laurentian University says it's now officially out of creditor protection as of today, a couple of days ahead of the deadline it was facing of November 30th. Now, though, calls are resuming for a change to legislation so this precedent-setting situation cannot happen again. More from CTV's Ashley Bacon.
In the Auditor General of Ontario's special report on Laurentian University, it details years of financial mismanagement and what it calls unnecessary decision to file for insolvency protection. The board chair at Laurentian, Jeff Bang, said this in a statement. Reforming our governance, improving operations, and heeding the recommendations of the Auditor General will keep us on track. But most importantly, we must be committed to respecting all of the university stakeholders as key decisions about the future are made. Still, the Canadian Association of University Teachers says there needs to be more accountability for what's happened.
A commitment from the government to say we will sponsor legislation to deal with this issue so that no other university or college in the country will have to go through this kind of process again.
And the school's faculty association also says there's still work that needs to be done.
That we are no longer constrained by the limitations imposed by the CCAA. We will use all the tools at our disposal to ensure that the new administration implements the improvements we have been called for.
On the question of legislation to ensure this can't happen again, Sudbury's MP weighed in, saying the federal government is taking action.
I want to be able to table that legislation in the House of Commons. And in effect, what it would do is it would not allow any post-secondary institution from being able to access and use the CCAA.
It was the first time a public institution had declared bankruptcy in Canada, a move normally reserved for private companies. And in the process, 150 jobs were lost and 60 programs were cut. Ashley Bacon, CTV News, Sudbury.
All right, so what do you think about that, Billy? Anything stand out to you?
Well, as you kind of explained to me prior to the show, what that was basically saying is that it sounded like the school had made that part of their financial strategy. It's like, here, we could go in this direction. There's a little loophole. We can get out of this by the bankruptcy. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So remember the words where the lawyers were giddy when they explained to the board and the senior administration of the hospital, of the getting ahead of myself here, of the university. So they explained that there's a loophole here. This kind of channel that you can go down, or this road you can go down to go bankrupt, it's normally reserved for for-profit corporations. But look, they didn't cover their bases here, and you could actually legally go bankrupt. You can do that. And the lawyers were all giddy because they could just wipe the slate clean, all their debts, everything, just go bankrupt and start all over again. And so they saw that loophole, the lawyers did, and that's why they went down that road, because they could do it. You would think that there would have been safety nets in place where a publicly funded organization with your tax dollars shouldn't be able to. There should be more checks and balances in publicly funded organizations such as universities, but there weren't. There was a loophole there. They found it. They could go bankrupt, and they did. Now, Vivian Lapointe, Sudbury's Liberal MP, wants to table a bill that will make it impossible for other universities to do it, because guess what now? Other universities are thinking, we could do the same thing. But no, you can't, because we're going to prevent it. We're going to make sure that those checks and balances that should have been in there in the first place, and really you would think that the people at Laurentian and even the lawyers wouldn't have ethically done that. But they did. They took advantage of a loophole and took your tax dollars and basically went bankrupt with your tax dollars. And your tax dollars went to capital projects and things like that, and then were never paid back. So they went bankrupt, and now Vivian Lapointe is going to table a bill to make it impossible for any other publicly funded university. So Laurentian will go down in history as the only university of its kind in Canada to have gone bankrupt, which is kind of neat, right? To be the only one.
Well, I don't know about that, but it sounds like this bill is going to go through. Can you see any flip side, double-edged sword to it, that there would be any challenges to it?
I don't think so.
No,
I think those checks and balances should have been in place in the first place.
So, for sure.
Yeah, Laurentian shouldn't have been able to have done that.
Yeah.
But they did. Yeah. They saw the loophole. Again, that's why the lawyers were giddy, because they saw, hey, here's a solution to your problem. You can build the heck out of this place, make it a huge deal university with a lot of capital projects, like make a lot of buildings. Buildings have value, so real estate wise, it's going to come back and be profitable in some ways, as real estate usually always goes up. Build these capital projects and then just go bankrupt, so you don't owe any money back, but you still end up with these capital projects at the end that will contribute to your wealth going forward, which is just, it's just, who would have thunk it? So that was them doing that on purpose. For those reasons, they want to make sure no one else is going to be able to consider that as an option. Yes, so going back to our safe consumption conversation, Jerome is saying basically, do you think that physicians should be held accountable in some way, because they're the ones who start the addiction process in many cases by prescribing opioids and then getting people addicted, and then, so that's kind of like it's mainstream. And then also pharma with the physicians making that possible.
There's a real reverse incentive to keeping people non-addicted.
No, definitely, yes. It's a huge industry, right? Mm-hmm. And good morning, Julia. Great to have you on. And Tracy as well. Good morning. So here you have it. We got, we talked about safe consumption. That conversation is again going to continue on and on. And then also Laurentian, this is a conversation that just keeps giving and giving, and we're going to get further into that now. So Jerome says, again, this supports the statement that higher education has very little to do with intelligence. And I do appreciate that comment as well. You can be book smart in something and basically not be so useful in actually doing tasks and making things happen. And that's found a lot. And our universities, basically, from what I've just experienced coming through it, are just like they start in kindergarten now. It just continues through university. It's more of an indoctrination rather than an education. You're indoctrinated in an ideology rather than educated in a trade or in a career. You're not really given the tools you need. A lot of it is theory based in postmodernist Marxist ideology, and it's basically like a Marxist church now. It's not really education, is what my experience was. And I find, speaking to people around the Western civilization, they find the same thing as well. Brian says, one could say Laurentian University is starting a new chapter in life, chapter 13. Thanks, Brian. That was funny. Diane says, the house where the president was living, he moved, but the house is not safe. Oh, not for sale? The house that where the president was living, he moved, but the house is not for sale. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. So speaking of president, speaking of CEO, speaking of the former CEO of Laurentian University, then moved to the hospital, Dominic Giroux, the HSN sent out a memo to its employees talking about, to still have confidence. But CTV did a reboot of a story they did way back when Dominic was first made the CEO of the hospital. So let's just start with that, and then we'll get into what the memo actually said.
The incoming president and CEO of Health Sciences North in Sudbury is getting prepared for his first 100 days on the job. Dominic Giroux starts work on Monday and says he wants to get a feel for the hospital and its staff by meeting all parties involved. He offered this video message today to hospital employees and patients.
I want to hear your vision. I want to listen to what you have to say. I want to listen to what makes you proud of HSN and HSNRI. I'd like to hear from you as to, if you had a magic wand, what would you like to change? What would be your advice to me as your new CEO?
And Giroux takes over from Denis Roy, who retired in June.
Okay, so what would be your advice, Billy, if you were giving Dominic Giroux some advice?
I don't think I would give him advice. I don't know. I really don't know enough about it.
Okay. You would. Well, I would say.
What would you say?
I would say just, we did a study, part of college, basically in public relations, of, when a corporation does, it's crisis communications is what it's called. When something goes wrong and there's a public view of it, what it looks like to the public, what they're taking from it. And in this case, the public is outraged at the fact that Laurentian University, first of all, went bankrupt, made that decision. Second of all, there's no accountability, or they don't see accountability. And then third of all, the former president, the one that in the report was called out and was the president for most of what that report covered between 2009 and 2017. The report is from 2010, 2020, pretty much. So a lot of it was Dominic Giroux's reign at Laurentian University. So the third thing is that he's not even saying anything. He's not even making a statement, not even commenting on it. No comment is all we've heard from Dominic Giroux. There was a statement from the Jason Turnbull, who's the spokesperson for the hospital, but nothing from him. He didn't even say Dominic Giroux has said this in the statement. So no statement whatsoever, no comment. So in class we studied case studies. And I don't know if you remember back in the day, Maple Leaf Foods with their listeria, they had to recall all their meats and people got sick, and I think people could have even died. I think some people even died from eating the meat that was contaminated. They were praised at how quickly they responded to everything. The CEO came right out, apologized, said it was our mistake, condolences to the family, showed remorse, all these things right away, recalled all the meat, cleaned and let the media into the facilities, showing them how they cleaned the facilities and that it's safe afterwards. It was totally transparent. And then we took other companies as well that didn't, and there was way more companies that didn't do a good job with their crisis communication. So there's many of them. They just didn't say anything. And so the more they didn't say anything, the more people get enraged, the more they boycotted their products or their company, and the more detrimental it was, the further they just let it fester. And this is reminding me of one of those case studies. Now, he doesn't have a product. He's not the head of a company that is accountable to consumers in any way, shape, or form. We live in a socialist country with universal health care, which means no accountability. And that's one of the problems with it that we're seeing now. There's no accountability. Everything can be done, behind closed doors and whatever. And you don't get a comment from the person that was responsible for a publicly funded university in Canada going bankrupt, who's now the CEO and a celebrated CEO, who then got a promotion to be on the Ontario board, basically. And so he's just being rewarded all around, being rewarded financially. I saw a comment on CTV's Facebook page that said he makes more than the Prime Minister of Canada. Let that sink in, kind of thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's true. And even the Prime Minister had to be in the hot seat the other day at the inquiry. Even he gets questioned and has to be public and has to be accountable, right? As painful as it is to watch, we've had no comment from Dominic Giroux.
Yeah. Well, those are excellent points.
Okay, I was expecting. Come on, Billy, the other side. The other side.
Yeah. No, I think, when you have... Again, in relation to your compensation is probably your accountability. So there is that. But I think in the, it might be the unfortunate reality of the world where, much like a lot of these CEOs and things where bad things happen, you just, they might get counsel to don't kick the hornet's nest, just lay low.
Yeah.
And people will forget about it. There'll be something else in the news tomorrow, and this will be old news before
exactly.
long.
So Diane basically answered the question that the university owns the house. So that makes sense. Why is the president moved out and the house isn't for sale? So it's the university owns the house. Good point there. Yeah. Bring back retinopathy. Am I pronouncing that correctly? That's from Tracy. Brian says, jokes, Dominic, grow some skin, man. I don't know. So yeah, bring back retinotherapy. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Retinopathy. Retinopathy. Yeah. Is that correct? Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't. Okay. I haven't. But I just thought of hitting on that point again, that the difference between CEOs and private. Again, I think you're really onto something where everything that's kind of publicly funded, has got to have a higher bar of
accountability, transparency.
There shouldn't be kind of that ambiguous of a system where they might say something, they might not. There should be an expectation of it.
So the story from CBC, which is usually very, friendly. That's where Jason Turnbull came from, and now he's the hospital spokesperson, right? So CBC, very friendly to things like this usually. Health Sciences North Hospital Board sent a memo to employees and medical staff last week to ensure them that the hospital was in good financial health. The memo came in the wake of the scathing report from the Ontario General Bonnie Lysyk about Laurentian University that detailed poor management and lack of transparency from the 2010 to 2020 report, which led to the institution's insolvency in 2021. From April 2009 to 2017, Dominic Giroux was Laurentian's president. In 2017, he became the president and chief executive officer of HSN and has remained in that role since then. So, the Health Sciences North Research Institute let's see here. So there was the memo which said, we would imagine this situation has raised some questions for you on HSN and HSNRI's financial health, given Dominic Giroux is the former president at Laurentian University. So that was what they said in the memo. So, we would imagine this situation has raised some questions for you. But I guess they're going to answer those for us. We want to take a moment to provide some reassurance to you on our sound financial position and convey our extraordinary confidence in Dominic Giroux as our president and CEO. So here's a copy of that report right there, which is pretty cool. They just share the whole thing in a PDF right in the story. Pretty awesome. The memo said that since Giroux joined the hospital, its cash position, working capital, net assets, and long-term debt have all improved. When Dominic Giroux took over 5 years ago, HSN was incurring a deficit of $1 million per month, said the memo, which also needs accountability. Whoever was managing that before, holy crap, $1 million a month? That's a lot of debt to be going into. HSN incurred a surplus from the hospital operations of $1.8 million in 2018-19, $0.3 million in 2019-20, and $2.9 million in 2021, and $1.9 million in 21-22. The memo added Giroux has done an excellent job co-chairing the pandemic response for the health sector in Northern Ontario. We're fully confident in the job that Dominic has done as CEO, a job that he was recently validated by being chosen by his peers to be the chair of the Ontario Hospital Association at a time of great challenge in Ontario's healthcare sector, it said. Yeah, so in the report on the Laurentian, basically the Auditor General put the primary blame for the university's financial collapse on a failed philosophy of build it and they will come. Now, this is the thing I didn't see with Laurentian doing, having basically a lottery every month. Is it every month, the HSN lottery? It seems to be. Someone just won like almost $1 million on it, on a 50-50 draw lottery.
I'd be shocked if that's every month then.
I don't know. It seems to be quite regular, as far as I can see. It's not yearly, that's for darn sure. So that is, they have a lottery quite frequently. I'm going to check into that now. But it's a lot of money people are winning locally. So it means the hospital's raising a lot of money through this lottery. And I was almost thinking, like, how is that even the case? Like, they're so publicly funded. This is universal healthcare, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we thought was the holy grail. The world, the United States holds this up. Universal healthcare is the ultimate system of healthcare for all provided through our tax money. And we have to have a 50-50 draw in order to pay for things at our hospital. That doesn't sound like universal healthcare to me. Sounds like a broken system. And we have a broken university, and we have somebody who is in charge of the broken university coming over to a hospital that's a part of a broken healthcare system that won't even give a comment about his role over there. A lot of brokenness going on, ladies and gents, and a lot of comments coming in. So let's see. Diane says Dominic is hiding from public speaking under the carpet. Correct. Anagrams at the hospital. So that's what the retinopathy is. So it's like eye anagrams and angiograms, eye angiograms at the hospital. We need to bring those back.
I think it rings a bell now.
Cool.
Yeah. Like they can tell what's wrong with you by looking in your eye, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And laser treatment. The memo to self, hide the memo. Okay. Where does the HSN 50/50 go? Yeah, exactly. Where's the accountability? Where's the money? It is once a month, Billy.
Wow.
And that's a lot of money every month. And they have smaller prizes too.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what their budget is from the government funding.
Yeah, why isn't it transparent? Is it transparent? Can I just go on their website and see all the money coming in and all the money going out? They're saying he's doing a stellar job. They're saying that he came in when they were in a deficit. But can we see that on paper? Can we see those numbers? You know?
I'm not sure, but I suspect
Are they public?
Business is booming for hospitals.
It is. The last prize they gave out was over $500,000.
Wow.
So if you picture just this lottery every month coming in, even if it was $500,000 a month, that's not bad, just free money. That's $6 million a year just coming in. That isn't even part of your budget. That's just free money coming in. So where does that go?
Is that just like locals buying these 50/50
Locals.
tickets? Wow.
Billy's like, I got to get a ticket. The odds are good for me.
Yeah, I'll pass.
I'm just kidding. I thought of that too. The odds are better because it's local. But anyways, and the odds right now, who would think that we're out of time?
Those are good odds.
Those are good odds. We're totally out of time, folks, and I got to get to some training and get there on time as well, which I'm definitely going to be late for. It was just for Cancer Foundation before. Oh, I see. Okay, HSN now goes through for the whole hospital. Okay. But it used to be just for the cancer center, but now it's for the whole hospital. Well, thanks for that, everyone. Thanks. It was a robust conversation today. Hopefully you can join us tomorrow for more conversation. Billy, Thursday?
Thursday.
We'll be back on Thursday. Thanks again, Billy. Thanks all y'all.
You.
Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that. Jerome's getting the last word without me mentioning it because we got to go. Have a great one. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU, and we'll be back. Oh, Karen's getting the last word. There you go. So, ciao. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe, everyone.
This